My name's Elysia English and welcome back to my channel. You guys, today, it's officially the day. It is so exciting here at the English house because we are going to start our she shed build. We are working in collaboration with our favorite Home Hardware, our favorite Canadian brand, to do this build. Home Hardware offers backyard project packages ranging from garage and sheds to decks and fences. The plans are free with purchase of materials, and these are not pre-cut kits. You get to assemble and build these yourselves. I have been dreaming of building my own she shed, and so we're gonna take you along on the journey. I can't wait to get started, so let's get building. Here's how. Before getting started with the build, I made sure that I started this build super organized. When you're building a big project like this, you wanna make sure you have all of your supplies on hand, all of your tools ready, and you know that you have everything you need. I also printed off my free plans, so I have actually made a binder where I have everything together, showing me all of the details that I need to do this build myself. So I have all of my materials and all of my lumber organized, and I'm ready to start leveling off the space and making my fluorescent marks on the ground to be able to know exactly where my shed build is going to go in the yard. Since our backyard is super slopey, I used some existing patio stones and one of my boards to help me get a level ground, kind of eye up where I needed to raise or lower the yard, ensuring that my shed in the end would be super level. This step gave me all of my accurate measurements so I knew where I was going to put my holes in the ground. I needed to drill holes in the earth 4 feet deep in order to put sonotubes in and concrete to go below the frost line. Rather than doing all of the digging and slugging myself, I went to my local Home Hardware and went to their rental shop. They have tools you can rent there, like this auger, that you can rent for a short period of time, pay a small fee to not invest in a forever tool. Who knew that drilling into the earth would be so much fun? We just finished using the auger to create 8 holes. We did 4 feet deep below the frost line. Next step is sonotubes and concrete. So before we actually get the sonotubes and concrete in the ground, we need to make sure that all of these areas are completely level before we get started. Because we want to make sure that the brackets we're going to use to support the base are actually perfectly level. Otherwise, our shed's going to look like this. So we want to make sure that everything is perfect before we get building. Using wood stakes, a string line, and a line level, I was able to set the height on what my sonotubes needed to be at when I poured my concrete in to put in my post and pier brackets. It's concrete mixing time. So what I'm doing right now is I'm putting in my concrete and I'm mixing it with water from the hose. You want to make sure that you have a nice consistency. You don't want it to be super watery. Then we're going to do is we're going to fill in our 8 holes that we put in, and we want to make sure that they're nice and full, and then we're going to put our brackets in to help with our base. We're going to let our concrete set now for a little while we do the other holes we need to fill with concrete, and then we're going to use our post and pier brackets to be able to put in and get them into place. That way we'll be ready for our next steps. What I want to do with the concrete is I don't want water to sit on top. And so what I'm doing is I'm just making a little bit of a downslope with my trowel all the way around, leaving the higher point here where my post bracket is going to go for my post and pier. That way I know that I'm not going to have any crack foundation on my concrete here with the cold weather or anything. Now we have all of our concrete mixed in the sonotubes and we have our post and pier brackets set. Now we need to wait and let those dry and cure before we can get to the next building steps. I'm just about to start building my post and pier beams, and what I'm doing is I'm doing 3-ply 2x10s. So I'm going to nail them together, doing rows of 3 every 6 inches all the way down my boards, and then I can put them on the posts that we concreted. I'm going to do this for all 3 of the sections. When creating your 3-ply beams, if you do have any crowning on your boards, you want to make sure that the opposing crowns are facing each other. That way they won't be resisting the third board trying to create everything in that U shape that you don't want. So putting them together will actually be able to fasten them, and they're going to create a much straighter beam for you in the end. So I'm going to flip this board here, get my crown facing the other way, because I just have one that has a slight crowning. That way when I join these boards together, they'll be nice and tight, and I won't have that bowing where I don't want. I want everything to be perfectly squared off on the base of my shed. Once I finish nailing this side, I'm going to flip over my beam that I'm creating and do the same nailing on the other side. I have finished the post and pier portion of the build, and I'm ready to do the floor joist layout. So what I'm doing right now is I've just cut my front and back. Stand upright along this side here when I get that in place, and then I need to do a 3-ply of my 2x10s, doing the same all the way from this corner to that corner, but I need to cut them a little bit shorter. So I'm going to cut 6 to put them 3 on either side, and then I'm going to do all of my floor joists in between, cut those to the same length, so I need 14 of those. So right now I have a lot of cutting to do, and we're gonna get this floor ready. Using my 2x10s, I'm going to 3-ply and make 2 floor end beams on either side. All of the floor joists are cut and they're in place, and I've set them 16 on centers. I had 8 to go across. I think it looks amazing. I can't wait to get this nailed on and in place permanently and get us ready for the next step, which is so exciting because we are going to add floors and walls to the she shed. Before we get doing our flooring and building the walls, which is really exciting that we are at that step, we are actually right now, I'm putting in the joists and the joist hangers for the deck. I figured while I'm at this point, I might as well make sure that the whole base is completely done before we get going on the next part. And then I'm really excited to get the walls up. Did I mention we're gonna put the walls up? I'm having so much fun building this backyard building project. If you want to do some of your own backyard projects, head to homehardware.ca. Let me know in the comment section what summer backyard projects you're looking forward to creating for your own family. If you enjoyed episode 1 of this new backyard building project series, be sure to subscribe to my channel to see future updates on this big project. I am honored to have Home Hardware sponsoring this build.